The Dodgers didn't just win Game 2. They made a statement. Yamamoto somehow followed Snell's historic Game 1 performance with one for the ages.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Dodgers are up 2-0 in the NLCS after a dominant 5-1 win over the Brewers. And I don't say this lightly. That might have been one of the best postseason pitching performances we've seen from any Dodger in history. Sorry, Blake Snell. I meant in the last 48 hours. And if you thought the Dodgers bats were asleep, think again. Max MuncY made franchise history. The lineup finally broke at it. And oh yeah, we've got Tyler Glasnow and Shohei Ohtani lined up to pitch at Dodger Stadium. It feels great having the boys in blue firing in all cylinders at this stage of the game, Travis.
Indeed, it does. That's exactly what you were hoping they would do. Go into the road stadium, win a couple of games, come back with a chance to close it out at home. Which brings us to this. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase.
He's Travis Rodgers. I'm Harry Ruiz, two guys who talk sports for a living and bleed Dodger blue for life. You can get more Travis on 710 ESPN LA or the ESPN LA app from 3 to 6 p.m. with the Travis and DeMarco Show. As for me, I'm the Spanish play-by-play broadcaster for the USC Football Trojans and the Las Vegas Raiders. But honestly, nothing beats jumping on the mic every weekday morning and diving deep into what I love most, talking Dodger baseball with you. If you're new to the show, welcome and thank you for checking us out. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, drop a like, and jump into the comment section. We love hearing your thoughts and reaction. And hey, you can always sound off directly on our listener line. Call or text us at 2793-LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. And you might just hear yourself on the next episode. Tomorrow, we're going to get a lot of those voicemails and texts in. All right, let's jump right in. You can't buy heart, but if you spend wisely, you might just get a Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Let's talk about absolute dominance. Yamamoto threw the first complete game for a Dodgers pitcher in the postseason since Jose Lima in 2004. Lima time. Travis, you were asking for Blake Snell to get that opportunity in Game 1. He didn't get it. Now, Yoshinobu Yamamoto got it, and oh boy, did he deliver against the Brewers in Game 2.
He sure did. I think maybe one of my top 5 things I liked most about Yamamoto's complete game last night is we got to talk about Jose Lima for a few minutes. One of the all-time great characters in baseball history. He was a beauty. May he rest in peace. Yamamoto was as good as you could possibly hope for. And it was weird. And I think you got the entire Yamamoto experience in the space of a few hours, which was the very first pitch of the game that he throws gets popped for a home run. And you're thinking, okay, maybe the Brewers have his number. And then it's like, no, he just won't give up another run the rest of the night and go the distance. What's so crazy, and like you said, it's the first Dodger complete game in the postseason in over 20 years. And I'm not so sure it wasn't the worst of the two Dodger pitching performances over the last 2 nights. That's how good they both were. It was extraordinary. It was as good as you could hope for. I think you saw Yamamoto demonstrate all of his resiliency that, and this is why he's so valuable, is that he is seasoned. He is a pro. He has been around a long time. A lot of guys, get the first pitch of the game knocked out of the ballpark. They might get a little sketchy and like, oh my gosh, is it going to be one of those days? Didn't faze him at all. He goes right back to work and he sets everybody down after that. Never really had any trouble after that. It was pretty smooth sailing. I'm thrilled that the Dodgers, somebody somewhere, whether it's Dave Roberts or somebody up above him in the chain of command, decided, hey, you know what? Let's just let our best guy be our best guy in the 9th inning and go out there and close it. And it was a master class on the mound, and the Dodgers did just enough on in the batter's box and on the bases to win the game. That game could have easily been 10 or 11-1. It felt like they were a swing away from cracking that thing open. So all in all, a terrific night for the Dodgers and a huge opportunity coming back to Dodger Stadium.
I mean, when they were up 3-1, I was like, I feel like we do need Yoshi to go the whole way. And then 4-1, and then 5-1. And I was like, well, maybe they'll throw anybody in there just to get the final 3 outs. I was very happy when the broadcast came back for the bottom of the ninth and Yoshi was still out there. I was like, let's go. He ended up throwing 111 pitches. And here's the impressive part. Just 4 base runners, a leadoff homer, 2 singles, and a walk. And that's it. After that first pitch left the yard, no Brewer even sniffed second base. Think about that, Travis. 24 hours after Dave Roberts was roasted for pulling Blake Snell after 8 near perfect innings, he let Yoshi go for it. I understand, too, that you wanted to give Blake Snell, okay, let's rest you that final inning because you want to be available for Game 5, and then Yoshi's going to get that potentially extra day of rest between Game 5 and 6 if it even makes it that way. So I get it, the way that they were structuring it, but man, you don't risk a game like this because winning in Game 1 is just as valuable as winning in Game 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 in the NLCS. So just get that win and figure it out later.
Look, I'm really not complaining, and I don't mean to harp on the things that worked out fine. The Dodgers have a 2-0 lead, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day. But last night was the one that would have made more sense to go to the bullpen as opposed to the one in Game 1. Game 1 was a 2-run game, and you're basically a swing away at any point. Last night with a 4-run lead, it felt like there was a little bit more breathing room to maybe go to a pen that you don't have the world's greatest confidence in. But regardless, it all worked out. And I think here's something else that I'm optimistic about moving forward in this series. And if they're lucky enough to win 2 more games, what might happen in the World Series is I think they showed that, you know what, you can go out there in the 9th inning. You can go past 100 pitches. You can lean on these guys a little bit and things will continue to work out the way that they did. I think it showed that Dave learned his lesson. Might be a little extreme as far as what that was, but I think he learned from a very close call. There a Bryce Terang diving out of the way, a Bryce Terang swinging at a ball at his neck from being 1-1, and he or whoever made that decision said, hey, listen, we're not doing that again. Yamamoto's on one. Just let him go finish this thing up. And he did it in an incredibly efficient manner. And it was. And here's another thing, Harry. And we don't give this enough credit. I think it was fun. Honestly, like I know the winning the game is the goal. I know that going to the World Series, winning the World Series is the goal. But there's also an entertainment element to this that is meaningful. Now, it may not be at the top of the list, but seeing a complete game was fun. It's unusual now. And so I really enjoyed it. I think baseball fans enjoyed it. Maybe not Brewer fans, but everybody that liked to watch baseball the way that I like to watch baseball for a long time. We got a little bit of a throwback for one night, and it was super fun to watch.
And on the other side, you had a great starting pitcher as well that went 6 innings that he ended up giving up a home run late too, but it was a good pitching duel and it was entertaining. Not as good as when Blake Snell takes you 8 innings and the opposing pitching only allows two runs. But at the same time, it was a game where our stress levels were a little bit lower because the bats delivered in a better way. So I love sharing stats. And if the eye test, you know that Yoshinobu Yamamoto was great. Let's just go with some numbers. Yoshi became the first pitcher since Roy Halladay's no-hitter in 2010 to throw a complete game in the playoffs without allowing a runner in scoring position. That's 15 years. He's only the second pitcher in MLB postseason history to give up a leadoff homer, then shut the door the rest of the way. The last one, Johnny Antonelli, 1954. We're talking about baseball history, not just Dodger history. And now, Travis, just focusing on this Dodgers rotation, it's on another planet right now. Over their last 30 games, the Dodger starters have a 15-1 record, 1.49 ERA, and a batting average against of 144. That's not just elite. That's unprecedented. No team since 1969 has had starters post both a sub-150 ERA and hold hitters under 150 in a 30-game span.
Yeah, look, I am superstitious. Let me rephrase. I am baseball superstitious. You've heard me say this, the everydayers have heard me say this. I believe in the baseball gods. I am a devout member of the Church of Baseball. And look, these things tend to kind of go in cycles, right? Up and down. And the baseball gods kind of laugh when people make a plan, right? And the plan the Dodgers had was, hey, listen, we're going to just play the regular season. Whatever happens, happens. We have enough talent that we're going to find our way in the playoffs, even if we play at the lowest possible level, which they kind of did for a good chunk of the season. And then when we get into September and October, we're going to have all our guys as healthy as possible. That was the plan. It worked. It worked. And this is where you find yourself when Blake Snell is fully healthy. Yamamoto is fully healthy. Shohei Ohtani is fully healthy on the mound. And, of course, Tyler Glasnow as well. So you've got this, like those numbers that you just read. If it was one guy, you'd be like, okay, they have an ace. That's the thing. The Dodgers have 4 aces, and they have 4 healthy aces at this current point in history. So it was an incredible plan, a risky plan, but it's coming together. Now, you know, you're as good as there's another baseball cliche for you. Your momentum is as good as your next day's starting pitcher. Well, their next day's starting pitcher is Tyler Glasnow, who's been pretty darn good along the way. So I think they keep that momentum rolling. And as long as those guys, they don't have to give up 1 run and throw 9 innings every time. You know, that 7-inning threshold that I think we're all hoping for seems, you know, I don't know if it's reasonable, but it's at least hopeful that they can get there. And if they do, Milwaukee's in some trouble.
This is where we got to give the Dodgers front office a lot of credit. You just mentioned 4 aces. For a big chunk of the season, this team only had 1, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and then just filled up the rest of the rotation with the likes of Ben Kasparius, Emmett Sheehan, Clinton Kershaw, first ballot Hall of Famer, but that we know he's not at his best level, who just pitched a fantastic season as well. You got guys that it was just figure out who you were going to put out there to start a game because you didn't have enough pitchers in your rotation, and they still ended up with a divisional crown that I know the San Diego Padres would have loved to have. I know that the San Francisco Giants would have loved to have. Same case with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Rockies are irrelevant in the world of baseball, so they couldn't even sniff that situation. But this rotation right now isn't just carrying the Dodgers. It's redefining what dominance means in modern baseball, and it all started with trust right here. Roberts trusted Yamamoto to finish it. Yamamoto trusted his stuff, and the Dodgers trusted the process.
Here's what we need from Yamamoto and Snell the next time they pitch. They need to pitch really well again. Otherwise, it's going to be a C. That's why you can't let these guys go past 100 pitches. C, he looks fatigued. Hey, he's not as sharp as he was before. And who knows? Maybe that's fair, or maybe it's just the pendulum kind of swinging back more towards a normal performance as opposed to a performance for the ages, because, just Dodger fans, keep this in mind, and I loved it as much as you did. What you saw the last couple of nights is not normal. It is not the way this. Oh, okay, we'll just do that. No. This doesn't. These are these 2 nights were as good as you will ever see in the postseason. So that can't be the bar. The bar can be kind of high, but the bar of 8 innings and spacing 24 guys, which is what Snell did, or 9 innings and a guy doesn't get past second base after the first pitch of the game. Good luck. That's not the bar, but it doesn't need to be. It was just a masterclass. It was terrific. Loved it.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it because you're literally watching history right now. And good news, the bats woke up and Max MuncY etched his name in Dodgers lore. Next on Locked On Dodgers, we'll talk about the home runs, the clutch hitting, and why this offense might finally be turning the corner at just the right time. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets? That's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of it. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price that you see is the price that you pay. The app has made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seats before buying it. When I go to Chavez Ravine, Game Time is the only app that I use to buy tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. If you're going to Travis Ravine either on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, go to Game Time. Swipe, tap, ticket, go! Download Game Time today. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. Travis, I love the interaction. We're posting post-game shorts. We're posting shorts from our show, and people are loving the comments. They're jumping into them, and that's what it's all about, man, interaction.
It's the best because when everything's going the way that things are going right now, when your team is on a good one, everybody's excited. And here's the other thing. When they're not going so well, that can be kind of fun too. Everybody likes to vent a little bit.
Hey, everybody has an opinion, and the beauty of social media is that everybody can share theirs.
Indeed.
Sometimes the beauty, sometimes the curse. Well, if Max MuncY isn't one of the greatest postseason hitters in Dodgers history, then who is? MuncY's 14th career postseason homer didn't just give the Dodgers another insurance run. It gave him the franchise record. He's now passed Corey Seager and Justin Turner for the most playoff homers in Dodgers history. That's not a fluke, Travis. That's legacy right there.
It is. So you know that goofy meme that'll show up on your feed every once in a while, like so and so was a problem, where they'll show you old highlights like White Chocolate or Tom Chambers or something like that from the NBA. Fast forward 15, 20 years from now, if we still have, social media, whatever, it's going to be like Max MuncY was a problem. People be like, who? I thought Shohei Ohtani was on that team and Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts were on that team. And, you go back. But Max MuncY is going to be one of the great Los Angeles Dodgers of all time. Now, he's not going to the Hall of Fame. He's not going to make a million all-star teams like some of these other guys. But he has been here a very long time, and he hits a lot of home runs. And he hits a lot of home runs in the playoffs. And this is why this team is so lethal so often. It's because even if you manage to somehow navigate the gauntlet of Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Smith, you still have a guy like Max MuncY back there who's going to hit, by the time it's all said and done, he's going to hit 300, 350 home runs for the Dodgers. It's just, that's what he's going to do. It's an extraordinary player to have. I don't want to say buried deep in your lineup, but waiting deeper in your lineup. And Max MuncY is I took a lot of heat on my radio show because at the beginning of the season, I was asked the question, how could somebody that's not Shohei Ohtani or Freddie Freeman, or Mookie win an MVP? And I said, well, Max MuncY could win an MVP under these circumstances. I didn't say he was going to win the MVP, but I said that if all those other guys just have kind of normal years and he's constantly coming up to bat with guys on base and he hits his 35 or 40 home runs, then he could put up some numbers that would turn some heads in an MVP race. Well, he missed way too much time to have that, but we've seen what it looks like when MuncY's in the lineup and when MuncY isn't. And when he's in it, it's a totally different team. He's not the most valuable player, but he's incredibly valuable nonetheless. And he showed it again last night. And every time he comes up, there's a threat of him popping one that other teams don't have a guy like. They have a guy that might run into one here and there, but MuncY's a 30 home run bat. And those are hard to find. And that he's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th in the order sometimes. It's extraordinary.
I would even argue that time missed by Max MuncY showed how freaking valuable this man is for this team.
I agree.
He had 2 stints on the IL in July and a little bit later after coming back. And when you didn't have him on that lineup, you noticed it immediately you needed him and that you missed him. And here's the beauty of it all, Travis. You know how everybody is complaining and moaning. I'm not saying the word I want to say, but complaining and moaning about the Dodgers and all the money they spend and da. How did Max MuncY arrive to the boys in blue? The cheapest team in all of baseball, the Oakland Athletics, they DFA'd him in 2017. They straight out released him after spring training that year, and the Dodgers signed him to a minor league deal that season. He was in their AAA system for over 100 games, and then they called him up, and then the rest is history. So for everybody that's, they buy everything, there's a lot of examples in the last decade or the last 13 years since Guggenheim bought the Dodgers of players being brought that they were scrubs at other teams, that they were just thrown away by other teams, and that they come and they're in the right place and they shine with the boys in blue. Max MuncY is one of them. Now 14 home runs in the postseason, most ever in franchise history. But look, Shohei Ohtani is coming. He already has 5 postseason homers in just 24 playoff games with the team. But last night, that was Max MuncY's moment. The man has been through the highs, the slumps, the injuries. He's been delivering when it matters most. So let's let him enjoy this moment, being at the top of the totem pole when it comes to postseason home runs in Dodgers history. But it wasn't just him, Travis. The Dodgers lineup came alive. Teoscar Hernandez, solo bomb. We trailed for all of 5 minutes. Andy Pages, RBI double to take the lead early in the second inning. And then the Max MuncY home run, Tommy Edman, Shohei Ohtani, RBI singles to put the game away late. I love it that we're saying Andy Pages and Shohei Ohtani right here in this segment because we need them to be on fire.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 biggest ones. And Teo staying hot, I think, is incredibly important too, because he's been really good offensively. Let me be very specific here. He's been very good offensively.
That defense and that base running, with the bat. Yeah.
Look, that big bat will erase a lot of mistakes elsewhere on the field. So, Teo has been an incredibly valuable player to this team. So he stays hot. But you're right. That Pages getting that ball down for the first time in a long time, I think is really good for his psyche, really good for the Dodgers. Because look, we've talked about this. Andy Pages hit the 2nd most home runs on this team this year. He is a very good player and a very dangerous player. So seeing him come alive is good. And again, having the guy that hit the 2nd most home runs on your team bat 9th, that should tell you what this lineup actually looks like. So I think it's really good to see him come alive. Tommy Edman has been kind of sneaky hot in this whole thing too through the playoffs. So we know how valuable he was last year through this run. He's been very valuable again through this particular run. And then Shohei's kind of a mixed bag, right? Like he did get an RBI hit. It was nice to see. He did get on base again. So that's good news. But I think you, me, and every Dodger fan on the planet is waiting for that one that he hits to the moon and just unlocks him all over again. It feels like it's coming. We saw him hit the ball hard a couple of times over the last couple of nights. So I do think that we're getting closer. But until you see Ohtani, taking the jog around the bases or dropping it into 5th gear and going for 2nd or 3rd on a double or triple, I think we're still waiting to see the full Ohtani, and it's coming. I mean, he's Shohei Ohtani. It's not like it's gone forever. It's just going to take one swing and he'll be back.
And Travis, if I recall correctly, first base was open. Pat Murphy didn't walk him this time. What happens? He made him pay. He struck out 3 times in this game. It's not like he was fantastic at the plate, but he got the job done when it matters the most. Yeah, he's
still off by a hair. I'm of 2 minds simultaneously. It's like, dude, what the heck is going on? It's Shohei Ohtani, and he's striking out like at a rate that Shohei strikes out a lot. Every Dodger fan knows that he strikes out a lot. That's just who he is. But
regular season, postseason, spring training, he strikes out.
But he also hits a ton of home runs and extra base hits, and he's not doing that. So while you're frustrated at the amount of Ks and everything else, you also know that it's just a matter of time until he gets unlocked. So hopefully he's getting closer, and it certainly feels like he is.
And on Tuesday night, it was 11 hits, 4 walks, a balanced approach, and relentless at-bats that the Dodgers ended up having. That's championship baseball. And look, after game 1, where they only got 2 runs despite 7 hits and 8 walks, you could feel the pressure mounting, but this lineup responded exactly how you want to see from a team that's been here before. I love it, Travis.
I did too. And not that this is the end of the world, but that was their best guy. Peralta's their best guy. And that they beat him. Okay. Again, they could go out there on what would it be, Thursday, and go out there and have a guy that just absolutely lights it up, whether it's Mizorowski or whoever they decide to ultimately go with. But their best guy went out there and got beat pretty soundly. That can be demoralizing too.
Yeah, I'm checking the probable pitchers right now, and we know the Dodgers situation, but we don't know the Brewers situation. And speaking of, the stage is set for Los Angeles for Travis Ravine. Glasnow Game 3, Ohtani Game 4 coming up on Locked On Dodgers. We'll break down what that means for the rest of this series and why the Dodgers might be perfectly positioned to clinch another World Series berth at home.
The NFL season is here. So is the playoffs. So is the NBA. So is the NHL. FanDuel, they've got an offer that you're not going to want to miss, no matter what sport your favorite sport is. Because right now, new customers, that's you, right? You can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. And yes, you heard that right. Pick a bet, put down just $5. And if it hits, you're going to unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And here's the thing about FanDuel that I absolutely love. There are a million different ways you want to play. If you like parlays, those are fun. FanDuel has parlays. If you like player props, right? That's a super fun way to watch a game. FanDuel has player props, and maybe you like to wait till the game starts. You like to see where the action is and get those little feelings like, hey, I think I know what's going to happen after this. They got live lines during games at FanDuel as well. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got that little something extra riding on the action. So let me ask you this. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Go do it right now.
Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. It's completely free. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers Postcast Show with Pete Fox live after the final out of every game. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer here on Locked On Dodgers. If the Dodgers don't finish this series at home, it won't be because of the rotation. It'll be because baseball is simply weird. Let's be real right now. The Dodgers are loaded. With the series shifting now to Dodger Stadium, it's Tyler Glasnow for Game 3, Shohei Ohtani for Game 4. I mean, any other team that had these two guys, they probably would be their Game 1 starters. The Dodgers right now, they're using them in Game 3 and Game 4.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment of riches. It really is. It is something that we haven't seen in a very, very long time, if we've ever seen it at all. I kind of go back, and this is a little bit before my time, but I know that the Baltimore Orioles back in the 70s had four guys in the rotation that all won 20 games one year. And, that's pretty extraordinary. And we've seen some, rolling out Roger Clemens and Andy Pettit and David Wells and things like that. And that was pretty loaded. But like you said, Harry, I think it's perfectly said. Any one of the two guys that are going to pitch Game 3 and 4 for the Dodgers, Glasnow or Ohtani, if you put them on maybe 28 other teams in baseball, they'd be their first day guy. That's how good. And everybody knows about Shohei, so I'm gonna kind of skip past Shohei real quick and talk about Glasnow for a second. He is as nasty as the only frustration for Glasnow is that he's temperamental, that he gets hurt a lot, is that he's, he just, if everything isn't exactly the way it needs to be, he gets a little, flustered or whatever. But when we saw him pitch against the Phillies, Harry, that's as good as it gets. It's as good as it gets. And I always go back to that preseason poll taken by major league players about who has the toughest stuff, the nastiest stuff, the most difficult guy to barrel up in baseball. And they did, I think, the top 8 guys. Tyler Glasnow was on, of all the guys in baseball, Tyler Glasnow was on the list. So that should tell you, and that's from the hitters. That's not from scouts. That's not from media. That's from the guys that got to go in there and try to find the baseball in the batter's box, and they can't do it. And he's your 4th guy. Come on, man. I mean, it is unreal. So if they pick up the baseball behind him, if they can score some runs, like we said at the beginning of this, you can put these 4 guys in any order you want, and I'm good with it. It really, truly doesn't matter which. Now, we could talk about, well, you want this guy to go twice or whatever. But if you said, hey, we got one game, pick any of these guys to go, and we're just going to blind draw out of a hat, you're not going to be disappointed with whoever you pull out of that hat. That's how deep it is. It's silly.
And think about how rested Tyler Glasnow is. The last time he pitched was once he gets back on the mound at Dodger Stadium, it would have been a week since he pitched in a game. Shohei Ohtani, even more than that. And then look at the rest of the staff. They've used 2 relievers, Roki Sasaki and Blake Trinan, for a combined 1 inning in the last 6 days. Everybody's available with the exception of Blake Snell and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Everybody's ready. The way that the starters have pitched, every arm in the bullpen is fresh. And if you're thinking long-term, this is chess, not checkers, that the Dodgers are playing. By starting Glasnow and Ohtani, both could be ready again in case there's a Game 7, but that's a big if, a big in case, because you would need the Brewers to just be able to start seeing the Dodgers starting pitcher in a completely different way than they have over the first 2 games where they've scored 1 run in each.
Yeah, and look, I'll put a little cold water on this for just a second. Pitching is a lot about feel. It's a lot about repetition. It's a lot about kind of being in your routine along the way. And there is a thing about not throwing a competitive pitch for a while that can kind of settle in, and you can almost be a little too fresh, not quite have that feel that you need as much as now your body feels great and your arm feels great, but the way that the ball leaves your hand, the way that the ball is coming off, the way that you can land breaking pitches and let, something that's not just 4-seam full gas, here it comes. You want, and you can try to simulate that in the bullpen. You can try to simulate that in some off side work and that, but the adrenaline that comes along with games only exists in games. So especially when you got guys that are emotional pitchers, a guy like Alex Vesia, who is, and I love Vesia. He's terrific. I love the way he competes, but that dude's at 11 out of 10 on a game in July. So if you come in a game,
and I would argue maybe even 15 out of 10.
Yeah, you might be right. So getting him some work, I think, is important because you're going to need him. I want Roki back out there sooner than later so we can kind of figure out whether or not that was just a bad day or whether or not that was, him going like this in a big moment. So we'll see. But and look, if they can stack 7 and 8 inning performances, great. But I would like to see the bullpen get some work because, even though they're in a great spot right now, you're going to need them. You're going to need those guys. We saw it on Game 1.
Travis, I know you don't like looking ahead, but right now, the Dodgers, they got 3 cracks to win 2 games at Dodger Stadium. And if they do, that's back-to-back trips to the World Series. They're 3rd since 2020. They're 5th in 9 years. And to have all those fans whining about how much money the Dodgers spend, save it. Dodgers fans, we waited 29 years just to make it to a World Series, 32 years to win one. And everybody was like, oh, it doesn't count. It's the pandemic one. We still embrace it. We enjoyed it the same way as if it was a full season through. We lived through heartbreak, rebuilds, almost, and the Frank McCourt era. And we didn't hear you complaining when that was happening. Now it's our time. The Dodgers are built for this moment, and they're not slowing down. 2 down, 2 to go. Can't wait for Dodger Stadium to go crazy on Thursday.
I will just say this. Maybe we'll spend a little time talking about the economics of baseball tomorrow, but let me just put this out there, and then we can circle back to it tomorrow during the off day. Just a friendly reminder that the guy who owns your team's a billionaire too. They've got the money. They just choose not to spend it.
And there's tons of billionaires trying to get into baseball, trying to get into basketball and football, just waiting for a team to sell, that they would be investing more money than a lot of current owners, but they're not doing so. But that we're going to dive deep into in tomorrow's show. For now, that'll do it for today's episode of Locked On Dodgers. Make sure you're following Locked On Dodgers wherever you get your podcasts, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube so you don't miss the next post-game breakdown. If you're still craving more baseball talk, have the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night be your second listen. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find it on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday. Travis hinted at it. We're going to talk about Jeff Passan saying that if the Dodgers win the NLCS, it's almost guaranteed that there's going to be a labor dispute that goes even into a lockout very soon. And also, we're going to have a chance to hear your voicemails and texts. So hit us up on the listener line right now. 279-3-LOCK. That's 279-356-2533. Travis, our listeners, they've been on fire on both the listener line and the text line.
Bring it. I'm excited to talk to everybody. I'm excited to talk about the Dodgers. It's nice to kind of catch your breath between some games and get ready for Game 3 because you know my rules, Harry. I only talk about the next game because I believe in the baseball gods, and they can be very, very vengeful. They can just when you think you got it figured out, they're like, oh yeah, well, watch this. So we'll get you ready for Game 3 as well.
The baseball gods are Dodgers fans too, Travis. Remember
Oh, be
that.
careful. Be careful.
We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.